What's up guys, my name is Matty. I'm the content guy at Evolve Australia. I've flown down to Melbourne this week to film at the Formula Ones, but due to coronavirus the whole thing has been cancelled. So I got myself a Sunday afternoon in Melbourne and I need to shoot something. I wanted to address what people are calling China boards. It's all these budget boards entering the market, especially in the last couple of years. We see it on social media all the time, people saying, why should I get your board compared to this or that? Or did you know you can get the same specs here for half the price? I'm not saying they're bad, but there is a pretty big difference. So what I want to do today is just run through some basic tests to highlight some of those differences in a non-biased way. So, in saying that, what boards do we have? We have the Carbon GTR in all-terrain. We have the Stoke, and representing the China boards, we have the Exway Flex. This is a brand new board, it hasn't started shipping to customers yet. There's a lot of hype about it online, a lot of people are talking about it because the specs are promising. So what we're doing today is seeing how the specs on this thing in real life compared to what they say on the website, compared to a premium board. Let's get to testing. Just before we get started, all these boards are at 100% battery and they're all going to be in the highest of the speed mode. So we get the fastest top speed, fastest acceleration and all the rest. I do weigh 100 kilos, so I put a lot of strain on whatever board I ride, but because it's the same person on each test, it's going to be equal. Let's see how they perform. The first test we're going to do is an acceleration test from point A to point B over 50 meters and time it to see what the differences are. Carbon GTR, all terrain. Go. Stop. Next up we have the Stoke. False start, it did a wheelie. Lean forward. Take two. Go. Stop. I don't ride this thing enough, this is cool. Next up is the Exway. This is my very first time riding the board. So I'm gonna go full trigger. Let's see what happens. And go. Okay. Let's call that one user error. I don't know what happened. Take 2, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, it doesn't start. Huge lag. What happened there was I hit the accelerator the first time and the board didn't move. I was leaning forward expecting it to move. So it's got a bit of a lag. I'm going to do another launch and do my best to get the wheel in and the wheels so you can see when I push it and when the board starts moving. And now for comparison's sake, let's do the same thing with the Carbon GTR. Mid-testing and we just met
Shiva.
Shiva, there he is. Bought a brand new Carbon GTR. When did you get it?
Just 2 weeks ago, actually. I love it. It is phenomenal. It's had a wow go to West before, but this thing is out of control, and I couldn't recommend it anymore. So absolutely awesome.
The test we're doing at the moment, is comparing how premium boards compete with budget boards.
It's just not even a competition, really, to be honest. Yeah.
He's not biased. I can be biased.
I just rocked up. I saved up a bit and got it. It is just it's not even a contest. It's so much fun and so different. Especially the all-terrain aspect is out of control. Like on the G, you can just go anywhere you want. So really cool.
Test number 2. We're going to time how long it takes each of these boards to reach 30 kilometers an hour. First up, Carbon GTR. 3, 2, 1. Go. Yep. 3, go. Yep. 1, go. Yep. The distance it took to reach top speed was about 20 meters further, so it's going to be slower. Once it got up to about 15 kilometers an hour, it was okay, but until then it was very slow acceleration. The reason we're doing the tests like this is because they're not subjective, they're A and B, these are the facts. I don't want to talk about how the boards feel to ride because that's just my opinion, it's subjective. We just want to lay out the facts so you can see that there is a difference between these boards. Not saying one is better than the other, because obviously price comes into play with that as well, but they're not the same thing. Test number 3 is another point A to B test. This time we're going uphill. I'm going to park in Melbourne, so I don't exactly have giant hills, but I do have a slight gradient there. We're going to start at the bottom, go to the top, and see how long it takes. First up, Carbon GTR. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. And the stoke. 3, 2, 1. Cruising. And stop. Next up, Exway. It doesn't time out, which is a good touch. 3, 2, 1. I'm rolling backwards. That's full trigger. Oh, there we go. I can't believe that passed. Like, hugely slower. It's struggling. There you go. So up the top of the hill it was 14 degrees, down there it was only 10. I think the board's rated to 30% incline and it was struggling on 10, 15. Granted my weight, but it's a test, make of it what you will. All 3 boards have been through 3 tests each and the results are in. What I want to do now is take the Exway, put it back on charge and get it to 100% and then take it out for a full range test to compare back to how it competes with their own specs, what they say on the website. Then we're going to go back to the office and talk about some of the other changes, or differences I should say, that you'll experience with Evolve compared to some of these other brands. We'll get to that soon. We're just about to do the range test for the Exway Flex. Let's get going and see how it goes. Not sure what to make of the brakes. I'm going to jump in here from back at HQ because the range test didn't go exactly as I planned. I ended up getting a little bit worked up and ranting for ages, and that's essentially because I'm very used to riding a premium board. So going back to a budget board, especially in real life scenarios, it can be a little bit scary. There was an issue with the brakes similar to acceleration where it would take half a second or a second for the curve to kick in. And that delay in a real world scenario would mean a car would pull out, I'd slam the brakes on and it wouldn't catch up and I'd end up having to dart off behind the car or step off the board. This is an issue that has been brought up by a couple of reviewers, Ronnie Saramento, Portable Electric Vehicles, and I hope it's something that they do fix quickly because it is pretty dangerous, especially in real life scenarios. That said, the range test. I rode for 8.2 kilometers from 100% to 50% battery. I know that's not ideal for a range test, but it gives us a theoretical range of 16.4 kilometers or 10.2 miles. But I wasn't prepared to ride it any further in the streets of Melbourne because it was all chaos. That's about slightly over half of the advertised range of the board, which isn't good. I wasn't riding overly hard, but I am heavy, so I'd expect less. We'll talk about that soon. There's plenty of reviewers out there saying really good things about this board, and that's all well and good. But from someone that rides a premium board all the time, I noticed all the 1%ers, so the quality of the urethane, the connectivity, the torque, the ability to go up hills, the way the thing carves. Every little thing that Evolve does that this thing's lacking shows when you add them all together and get an overall picture of a board. So if you look at the top speed on paper, yeah, sure, they might be the same, but when you take the whole picture into account, it's very, very different. In my opinion, they've done a really, really good job at making it look exactly like a boosted board. But all those things just don't add up to be the same as a quality manufactured board. But then again, it's a third of the price, so what do you really expect? They're not making miracles. Forget Exway, let's talk about Chinese boards in general. Overstating specs is something that they are renowned for doing. So if you're buying a board that says 20 miles range, don't expect that unless you're going downhill with a tailwind. They talk about top speeds, but they never talk about acceleration. All of the hill gradients that they claim simply are not true. So next thing to talk about, why are they cheaper? Firstly, they often imitate another board, so there's a lot of money there saved in research and development that they don't have to do. Beyond that, they cut costs in build quality and materials, which isn't a good thing when you're going 40 kilometers on essentially a piece of wood. Thirdly, customer service. Electric skateboards are a technical product, so just like an iPhone or a DJI drone, things can go wrong from time to time. So what do you do when your board breaks? If you search the forums, you will uncover a mountain of customer service nightmare stories from some of these companies. If your board breaks, you can't send it back to China. There are no service locations to take your board to get assessed and fixed. You can't pick up the phone and have a conversation. Best case, you can have email discussions in broken English and they might send you parts so you can fix your board yourself. When you buy online and offshore, you can forfeit a lot of your consumer rights in terms of warranties, returns, exchanges, or even arguing about the inflated specs that made you buy it in the first place. All those things that a domestic company is bound to give you as a consumer, you could find yourself in a little bit of a pickle. The purpose of this video isn't to trash other brands, it's to give you guys, the consumers, as much information as possible before you go out and buy whatever board that you want to buy. If you have experience riding both kinds of boards, jump in the comment section and let us know what your experience is. Keep skating whatever it is you have, and we'll see you on the next one.